Okay, so I've figured out everything that wasn't working with this. I've fixed it all and it's now functioning. I've got 9 spawners in the level, and on the wave manager I've set the expected spawner count, set this up to 9, so we're expecting 9 spawners to populate. So, to work through how this works, we'll start off with the struct, and this is just a bunch of information for a data table that we can use to classify the enemies. We've got a data table that uses this struct. Up here you can see it's using the enemy spawner entry, and each one of these is an entry for the type of enemy that we're going to spawn. We can set its class in here, all derivatives of the enemy base, the enemy parent class. It's got a cost, minimum wave, a base weight, a soft cap alive, soft cap weight multiplier, and a wave ramp. And a lot of this is for the wave manager to handle it with its budget and to determine whether to spawn it if there's a cap on how many we can have at any given time, all those kinds of good things. We've got an enum, and realistically this doesn't do a hell of a lot, but it gives us the opportunity to use it for other things. And this is just set as we progress through these stages in the wave manager. So we've got the waiting to start, which is the initial state that it'll start in. We've got pre-wave break, which is just a short period before the actual wave. We've got spawning, which will be the state while we're actually spawning enemies, at which point we'll switch into in wave. Then after the wave's over, we've got the upgrade choice for the player, and then the post wave break before cycling back to pre-wave break. So if we go into the enemy spawners first, on event begin play we go a reference to the player, then we go a reference to the wave manager and the level. We're doing this with all actor class and then getting entry 0 because there should only be one wave manager in the level. And then we're registering self with the registering the self as a spawner into the wave manager. So jumping over to the wave manager, not check spawn array, register spawner. So what we're doing here, we're seeing if the spawner already exists in the array, and if it doesn't, add unique. And then we can jump over to the event graph of the wave manager. So the wave manager on begin play casts to the player character for a reference, and then we wait a short time for the spawners to fully load before checking the spawn array. And then we check the spawn array, so we're looping through all of the enemy spawners. For each entry into it, we're incrementing a spawner count, and then when it's finished, we're seeing if we have as many spawners as expected, and if we do, continue, which is start game. So start game, we jump over into the event graph again, and we're setting the current wave to 1, setting to pre-wave break and their enum, and then calling the pre-wave break. Then for the pre-wave break, we're setting the state again in the enum, and we've got a delay before start, which is variable, so we can adjust that. Then we're calculating the settings for the wave at start wave. We're setting the wave state to spawning while starting the timer. So rather than try and read the comment here, we run start wave, then we compute the wave settings. So compute wave settings, if I open this up, go over here. So we're setting the wave budget. For that we're getting the current wave, multiplying it by 5 and plussing it onto 10. So initially the wave budget will be 15. Then we're setting the max alive enemies, 8 plus the current wave. Then we're setting a spawn interval. So we're capping this between 0.2 and 0.5. 0.5 is the current break between enemies spawning. So it's current wave times 0.02, and then we're negating that from the spawn interval, clamping it and using that to set the value. Enemy health multiplier, so we're taking current wave minus 1 and then plussing that onto 1, multiplying it by 0.1 and adding that to the enemy's health. We've got an enemy speed multiplier, which again, same logic, but we're multiplying at the end there by 0.08. And then the damage multiplier, which currently isn't hooked up. This sets the value inside the wave manager, but this actually isn't called, so the enemy's damage doesn't increment at the moment, but when it does, it'll be current wave minus 1 plus 1 multiplied by 0.06, and that'll be every wave, it'll increase by that. So jump back to the event graph, we're setting that enum again to spawning. We're setting a timer by event using the spawn interval, setting this handle so that we can stop it later, and then setting to in wave when we've finished this. So this event now, every 0.5 seconds from base and then incrementing from there, well no, decreasing from there, we're calling spawn tick. And then spawn tick, we're checking are there fewer alive enemies than the max cap, checking if we still have budget left to continue spawning, we're checking if there's at least one spawner in the level, and they are the early outs. Then we're getting and validating a spawner in the level, so we're looping through those spawners and we're picking one. Then we're selecting the enemy from get next enemy to spawn, so that's in here. So get next enemy to spawn. Is the current wave budget above 0? If not, return none. Are there fewer than max alive enemies? Is the data table valid? And then loop through data row names, data table row names. So for the loop body of this, for each entry, we're checking is the current wave greater than or equal to the minimum allowed wave. So are we allowed to spawn this as an enemy? Is the cost less than the current budget? Then we're calculating the wave delta and using this to increase wave difficulty for eligibility checks. Then we're checking if the entry is using the soft cap. So are we allowed to spawn it? Has it got a limit on how many we can spawn? And is the local weight greater than 0? If it is, add it to candidates. And we're collecting those weights. Gathering those into an array. So once we've looped through all of these, we come out to completed, and then we're totaling all those weights up. And once we've completed that, if the total weight is greater than 0, continue. If not, return none. Then we're setting a role and setting running to 0. A roll to basically determine which of the candidates we're taking. We're looping through the list of candidates. On the body, we're checking if we've already chosen the candidate, and if we haven't, we're going to start at weight 0 and add weights one by one, and then stop when the running total reaches or exceeds the roll. Once we come out of this, on true, we've chosen the candidate, so we set the boolean to prevent it overwriting the chosen candidate. Off completed that, we're checking to see if a candidate was found, and if it was, we're taking that output chosen class and feeding it into the return of this, and we're doing the same with the chosen cost, the integer there. So now we jump back into the event graph. So select and spawn enemy is where we are. We're selecting the enemy and then we're spawning the enemy. So we're getting that spawner that we've referenced earlier, that we selected from the array earlier, and we're calling the spawn event on that. So now if I jump over into the parent enemy, and not the parent enemy, we want the spawner, sorry, and into the spawn enemy function. So from here, we'll spawn and validate enemy class chosen from the manager. So we've got that input from the manager where this was called, that's feeding into spawn actor. Off there, we're just using a valid is valid for the boolean output to plug into a branch, and if it's not valid, we're returning none. And if it is valid, we're taking the reference, the output of this spawn actor, and we're casting back to the parent class, which might seem unnecessary, but it's just to ensure that we're definitely dealing with the enemy that was spawned when we call logic in a minute. So as I've put here, cast back to the base class and set an object reference to ensure that the wave manager only alters stats for the spawned actor, then output the result, which is what's going on here. So this sends back to the manager now, if we go back here. So we've got the output, whether it's spawned and a reference to the spawned enemy. We're checking to see if the spawn was successful, and if it was, we're doing a init from wave. So on that enemy, we're calling another function, initiate from wave. Now in here, this is basically what was running on the begin play. We're getting a reference to the wave manager, which is new. We're spawning a default controller because that's what was preventing the AI from moving when I spawned them in this manner. We're casting to the player character to get a reference. Then we're setting the max health variable from the max health plus the health modifier, and we're doing the same for the current health. And then the max walk speed we're setting with speed, current speed plus the speed modifier, and that's on the character movement, of course. And then we're initiating movement out of the enemy, just the same as we were in the previous setup. Now if we jump back to the wave manager, so we're adjusting the wave budget because we were successful, so now we actually adjust the budget, so we're negating the wave budget remaining from the chosen cost, sorry, from the wave budget remaining, and setting the wave budget. We're incrementing the enemies in the level. We're checking to see if that enemy type exists in the level, so we've got a map, a live by class here, and this is using the BP parent base class and an integer, because of course all the children of the parent class are subclasses, so we can still get that from the parent class. So we're choosing which specific class and creating entries in a map there to use that. And off here, if the enemy exists, we're incrementing the count, but if it doesn't, we're going to set it to 1 because we've just spawned 1. So from there, we're looping through and getting the enemies and spawning them until the budget runs out. But how do we progress onto ending the wave? So in the parent enemy, if I go down to the death event created for this, if we can just find it here, I've added notify enemy killed, and that's using the reference to the wave manager, and we're using self and get class to tell it which enemy class we're using. So now we can jump back over to the wave manager, and we know that every time the enemy dies, it calls this event inside the manager. So what's going on in here is we're setting the alive enemies by 1 less with a max of 0 to reduce the enemy count. Then we're checking if we've got a reference in the alive by class. If we have, then we're reducing 1 from that specific reference in there. And then we're checking if the wave budget remaining is greater than or equal to 0, and if wave budget remaining is less than or equal to 0, and if the alive enemies equals 0. And if both of those conditions are true, then we call wave over. So if I jump back to the event graph, we've got wave over now. At this point we clear spawn tick timer and set wave state to upgrade choice, and this is the point where we'd have the UI come up for the player, if I get the time to actually make that. So I've got a little bit of debug here, and this just prints a string in the corner saying add upgrade UI screen here, in 3 seconds progressing to next stage, and I've set this to last for 3 seconds and created a delay for 3 seconds. And this is the point where I'd be plugging in the player's UI upgrade choice, and upon making that choice it'd call player upgrade chosen, and that's where we continue the logic down here. So once the player has made their choice, when that's coded in, we'll set the wave state again. We have a short delay, which is the post wave delay, currently set to 3 seconds, and then we advance the wave. An advance wave is as simple as set the current wave by +1 and call the pre-wave break again, and it cycles back through from pre-wave break. That means that on the start game here I could add a little bit extra logic between this, just to delay things a little bit further, give a little bit of narrative, maybe spawn weapons across the map and give the player opportunity to look for some simple weapons in the map right off the get-go, just in that early stage before the enemies start spawning. But with that it all functions. If we jump over to the data table, using these base weights we can reduce the amount the soft weight cap is probably the best one to use to reduce the rarity, increase the rarity of each of these spawning. So if I actually demonstrate this in game now, we have the 9 spawners, and I'll just allow a couple of waves to pass so that you can see the progression of enemies. Should be getting the eruptor soon. Surely this wave. These can take a few of these shots now. Heavy mines. Looks like one there. That's an eruptor, yeah. There it is. So just to demonstrate, you can restart and they all repath to the player, but that is probably not the way that it'll run in the game. Yeah, jump out of that. So yeah, they do recalculate and attack the player if you do respawn, but I'll probably be unplugging the respawn mechanic and opting for an end of game screen where you get the score. Just give all of the enemies on the base parent enemy just a small score value, and then it can be tweaked per enemy and the children, and then that'll cast over to a UI element that'll display on the player's HUD, and then maybe add a save system, just a simple save system to store that to show in a main menu screen, so that you can see previous high scores. But yeah, that's it. It works. It's just on to building a good level to house it now. The core gameplay I feel is set up. You can play that as an enjoyable experience. It's just about adding juice, creating a level, and giving it a bit more purpose with that score system and the upgrades. But beyond that, I'm happy to call it there for now. I'll catch you in the next video.
Let's go.